What's up? What's up, Facebook world? Planet 417. It's your boy, Alex Bryant. Yeah, hopefully we're live with Frontline Faith with Alex Bryant. I got to tell you, we got some show changes to let you know about. Our producer, he started with me. I've worked with Frizz in radio. He's moving on. Frizz is taking a full-time job. The guy's getting into sales. Can you believe that? And so he's not our producer anymore. We got a new producer. His name is Micah. And we don't have a camera set up for him and all that good stuff. He's just, he's diving in. This guy's got plenty of years in media and audio, but we're trying to make it happen and get through the day. He's Johnny on the spot is what he is. Really over the weekend, Frizz is like, hey, got another job. Sorry, can't be with you. And Micah is one. I guess, Micah, you've known Will for a while, haven't? Is that right? You've known Will Worsham for a while?
Yeah, I work with Will.
Yeah, so he's worked with Will. So anyway, he's going to be joining us on the show, producing it. And so he's behind the scenes. Thank you for all that good stuff. So if there's any problems, man, we are just making some changes. That's what we're going to do. So blame me, not Micah. He's still learning. And I'm thankful that he is jumping in and helping us out. We do have a good show lined up for you today. I'll just tell you this. And it's all about, man, you guys saw it. You guys saw the fireworks in the Oval Office with Trump and Zelensky. I got some thoughts on that. And we've been talking about it. People are talking about it all over media, X, all over. There was at one point in time, 2.89 million impressions on X, man. It was trending like crazy. The fireworks there. I put a post on my Facebook. How come we see this differently? One person will see it and say, wow, that's a great show of strength. Another person looks and goes, I couldn't be more embarrassed at our country. So we'll see. We're going to talk about that stuff, and that's going to be good. And then we have the pastor's perspective. That's what it's all about. You guys know I'm Pastor Alex. I'm bringing in one of my friends. He's a pastor from Iowa. His name is Pastor Dave Martin. We'll have him weigh in on the Trump and Zelensky meeting. He is in Iowa, man. He's very active and with his church and their community and being people that are a part of the community. So we're going to talk with him, Pastor Dave Martin, about the impact of a small church in the community. So he'll be joining me around 9:30. So that'll be good. And then we'll go on the top 3 stories of the hour. That's going to be huge there. Now, let me just tell you. Normally we have a lot of graphics, we got slides, we have video. And again, Micah, he's new. We haven't had a chance to train him on how to get all that stuff going. So it could just be me talking today, but we'll do the best we can. There's a few top stories of the hour. One of them is an interview that a guy named Ben Dominance had with President Trump. And it's huge right now. He talks about, we might be able to play the clip from that. It's an audio clip, but it's about who Biden blames. No, we're not going to be playing, but it's about who Biden blames for being forced out. And so we'll go over that. That's one of the top stories. And then we'll talk about the Department of Education. They got a new leader, WWE, baby. Yeah, straight out of WWE. You guys know me. I love wrestling. Love it all. The Rock. Know your role and shut your mouth, jabroni. I like the old school Hulk Hogan. Man, you better eat your vitamins, brother. Macho Man Randy Savage. Oh, yeah. So Linda McMahon, she is the new leader of the Department of Education. And so I got some thoughts on that. We'll go over that. One of the top 3 stories of the hour. And then the stock market. What's happening? It's reacting to Trump's planned tariffs that went into effect at midnight, this morning, midnight, 12:05, I guess. And so I got some thoughts on that as well. And then we'll give you some things on what people are talking about. Could be an abbreviated show, depending on how much I want to opine and all that good stuff. So, but let's dive into it. What's the big deal? That's the first thing. And it's all about the Trump and Zelensky meeting in the Oval Office. They had a meeting. It was crazy. There were some fireworks by now. I'm sure that you have heard it, that you've seen about it, that you know about it. I'm going to try to play this clip. And again, we'll play it. I'll start and pause. Now, I want you to know this as well. I broke this down heavily on my audio podcast, The Way We See It. And so I'll put the link in the show sheet here. You need to check that out. I go into the details I broke it down on The Way We See It. I'll put the link in there, and I just broke that call down from start to finish. I'll give some of those thoughts here, but you need to check out that audio podcast, The Way We See It, and you'll get some thoughts on that. People are talking about this, but here's kind of the deal. I want to play a little bit of this, but let me set this up. I asked this question on my personal Facebook. How come one person will see, this situation and say, wow, show of strength. Trump was strong. It's exactly what we needed. Another person will look at it and say, oh my goodness, I'm so embarrassed. I want to apologize to the world, for Trump's behavior, yada, yada, yada. I got about 480, 490 comments on my Facebook post that I posted on that. And again, I broke that down on my audio podcast, The Way We See It. If you want to hear that, you should check that out. The Way We See It. Anywhere you get podcasts, you can listen to that on Apple, on wherever you get podcasts from. But so it came down to this, and a lot of people said it. It just goes down to the way that you view Trump. A lot of people don't like Trump, and so no matter what he does, they look at it as he's terrible. He's an idiot. He's ruthless. He's mean. He's harsh. He ambushed Zelensky. If you don't like Trump, you're probably not going to like the way that call went down. People that do support Trump, that are especially MAGA, they look at that and go, "Wow, show of strength. That's what we're looking for." So that's kind of really how it breaks down. But I want to go into this before I show this video. I think it's imperative, and a lot of people said this, you have to see the whole 40-minute press conference. And even before that, they had another 40-minute talk that was private without the press in there, where they were talking about what they wanted to accomplish. The whole goal of this meeting was to sign the minerals deal. Trump has said, hey, he wants to bring about peace. He's made no bones about that. He's trying to bring both sides to the negotiation table. That's what happens when you're trying to set a peace deal. That's what people are doing when they're trying to negotiate the peace between Israel and the Hamas terrorists. You go and you talk to, usually in a different place, like they're negotiating peace over there in Qatar. You got the different sides in. Sometimes you talk to them privately. That's how you do it. You go to both sides. You say, what do you want? What are you willing to give? And then you try to bring them in together. That's where we're at with the starts of the ending of this Ukraine war. That's where Trump's at. Trump's already had both sides say, yeah, we'd like to bring about an end to this war. It's a stalemate. It absolutely is. We know that Russia was the aggressor. Russia attacked Ukraine out of the blue. We saw it coming. They are in the wrong. They're completely in the wrong. Now, when Trump says, we don't know how it started, he's wrong on that, because Russia was the aggressor. It never should have gone down that way. Ukraine was attacked. And it wasn't the first time that they attacked Ukraine. Putin wants to restore the USSR to the 1980s. He wants all of those nations over there restored back under that. He wants the old school USSR, all the Slavic nations. He wants them to be reunited with Russia. He wants puppet leaders in there in their different governments. So he attacked Ukraine. There's no denying that. Zelensky and the Ukrainian people have fought valiantly for 3 years. I can't blame them for wanting all their country back, to wanting to restore that. I don't fault them at all. But the reality is they can't fight the fight alone. They don't have the weaponry. They don't have the resources. They don't have the finances. And they need help. They've said all along, we don't need your boots on the ground. We just need your help. We need your money. We need your resources. We need your weapons. And for 3 years, the world has been helping them out. We've given an awful lot. People are talking about how much, Trump says it's been about $350 billion. Now they count the weaponry. I don't know how they do the counting on that, but some people in the world say it's only $182 billion. Some people say it's only $115, $125 billion. We've given a lot. The Europeans have not given that much. People start to go, well, they've given a lot compared to the percentage of their GDP. No, bro, I'm not looking at it like that. What's the flat out dollars you've given? And the United States, most of the money we've given has been in the form of what Zelensky said that Biden said were grants. You don't have to pay those back. Trump's coming in saying that's stupid. We don't want just grants. We want loans, like the Europeans are giving loans. They're saying, yeah, we'll give you some money, but you got to pay us back. Obviously, Zelensky doesn't want to have to pay this stuff back. They want grants instead of loans. So the overwhelming amount of money that we've given, the aid that we've given in the form of weapons, in the form of even just financial aid, has been grants. And Trump's coming in and saying, listen, we need to get something from this. We're done with the American people just putting out money to everybody all over the world. That's the deal there. So when you go back to, so Trump's like, we're going to sign this precious mineral deal. Ukraine has like 5 minerals that are good, that if we can go in and mine some of the titanium, the lithium, a lot of different things that they have that are good for that could be beneficial for both countries. And so they're planning to sign this minerals deal. That's what Trump wants. That's how he's trying to position this deal. So Zelensky knew that, and it was a 3-phase. First we'll sign this mineral deal. We'll get some Americans boots on the grounds, and we're going to some business deals, and then they'll plan on meeting with Russia to sign a peace agreement, and then they'll negotiate the end of the war. Those are the phases. So at this particular presser here, Trump was expecting Zelensky to come before him and just to say, hey, here's what we're doing. Yeah, it's precious mineral deal. Answer a couple questions, smile for the cameras, because they had already talked about what's going to happen behind closed doors. Well, Zelensky didn't like that. So when you break down the 40 minutes of this, 2 minutes into the 40-minute meeting, this is before the last 10-minute fireworks had happened, Trump compliments Zelensky. Now, this is what I want you to do, Micah. Give me to this camera over here. I'm going to go a little bit closer on this. 2 minutes into this, yeah, all right, we'll go to that one. Yeah, right there. So 2 minutes in, Trump compliments Zelensky. He's like, hey, you guys have fought valiantly. Good job on that, because they have. 4 minutes in, Zelensky calls Putin a terrorist. Trump doesn't really want to necessarily call the guy a terrorist. Some people want to argue over that. Is he a terrorist? Yeah, I would say that he is. Is he a dictator? Yeah, we're talking about Putin here. I'd say that he is. He's not a good guy. I have a video that I was planning to show you that I might throw up on there later. It's of Bill Clinton talking about dealing with Putin, because he did. Clinton had 2 terms with him, and he talks about how he dealt with Putin. And he's like, look, I had a good relationship. This is what Bill Clinton said. Had a good relationship with Putin. Yeah, I mean, and Bill Clinton's like, he was honest with me. He did what he said he's going to do with me. And you got to negotiate behind closed doors a little bit strong, and then you got to have a good showing to the American people. That's what Bill Clinton says. All these guys know how Putin is. And Bill Clinton's like, he is smart. He's a smart guy. Putin has like a law degree. He's not dumb. He's just a immoral leader. You can't say the guy's dumb. And people don't like it when Trump says he's smart. He's not dumb. I do believe he's immoral because he is a dictator. He kills his people. He puts political opponents in jail. He's not a fair man. He's all about himself. I don't think that he's moral, but you can't insult him and say that he's dumb. And that's what Bill Clinton even said. And that's what Trump's stance is on this. So Zelensky, though, he doesn't like Putin at all, which understandably so. He doesn't like him. Understandably so. So, and then 12 minutes into the 40-minute interview, Trump's cracking a joke about how Zelensky doesn't like him and, kind of making it light there, because what Trump's trying to do is get to both sides of this deal. And, he's trying to talk to both sides, really. And then at about 13:56, Zelensky interrupts Trump. So that's one of the things that J.D. Vance, he had an interview with Sean Hannity last night, and he said, I got tired of that. I got tired of him, his disrespect, his rudeness, rolling the eyes, him interrupting. And so at 13:56, Zelensky interrupts Trump. 17:20, Zelensky throws his hands up in seemingly frustration. And then that's when the reporter asks, how come you're not wearing a suit? That was a big thing for the people. Trump didn't like that, obviously. I don't mind Zelensky not wearing a suit. The guy's in the middle of the war. Some people take issue with that. Trump looked at it as a sign of disrespect. When you go to the Oval Office, you should wear a suit. Some pointed out that Trump doesn't have a problem when Musk doesn't wear a suit. So the reporter asked Zelensky why he's not wearing a suit. And, don't know that was appropriate on that. We're going to go back to the middle over here. Keep mixing me up over here, Micah. So don't have an issue with that. But, some of them do. And, so then that's kind of where it started to go down. So 1941 into the 40-minute interview, Zelensky raises his eyebrows, rolls his eyes again at Trump's statement. This is what J.D. Vance is noticing. Other people are noticing it. And then Trump takes the edge off of the suit question by joking about Zelensky's outfit. So Trump knows how to handle a meeting over here. That's 22 minutes in. A minute later, Zelensky contradicts Trump and keeps painting Putin as a negative in the negative light, which I understand why he's going to do that. But what Trump is saying is, listen, we got to bring these guys both to the negotiation table. That's what Trump's trying to do. And so it keeps on going back and forth. Zelensky has no love lost for Trump. And Trump kind of jokes about it, like, man, you really kind of don't like this guy. You know, this is like 30 minutes into it. And this is like the final 10 minutes. And so I'm going to play a little clip from this. We'll pause and play, and then we'll kind of narrate this a little bit. But Micah, go ahead and start this clip right here.
This thing over with. You see the hatred he's got for Putin. It's very tough for me to make a deal with that kind of hate. He's got tremendous hatred. And I understand that, but I can tell you the other side isn't exactly in love with, you know, him either. So it's not a question of alignment. I'm aligned with the world. I want to get the thing set. I'm aligned with Europe. I want to see if we can get this thing done. You want me to be tough? I could be tougher than any human being you've ever seen. I'd be so tough. But you're never going to get a deal that way. So that's the way it goes. All right, one more question.
Hey, I want to respond to this. So look, for 4 years in the United States of America, we had a president who stood up at press conferences and talked tough about Vladimir Putin, and then Putin invaded Ukraine and destroyed a significant chunk of the country. The path to peace and the path to prosperity is maybe engaging in diplomacy. We tried the pathway of Joe Biden of thumping our chest and pretending that the President of the United States' words mattered more than the President of the United States' actions. What makes America a good country is America engaging in diplomacy. That's what President Trump is doing.
Can I ask you?
Sure.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So he occupied our big parts of Ukraine.
So here's the deal. I want to give this right here. What we see here happening here is there's two ways to end this conflict. This is a war that obviously Putin started. He went in and he attacked. Joe Biden, I think, allowed it to happen because of his weakness. When Putin was putting his troops and his tanks and all that on the border of Ukraine, everybody saw that was happening. He was building up troops for a couple of weeks there. And Biden's like, well, don't, Putin, don't, because he didn't want to talk to Putin. And then he's like, well, if it's a minor incursion, I guess we won't put any boots on the ground. We won't do anything. You just gave him the authority to go in, and that's what he did. He's done it before. He did it before when he went into Crimea under Obama. Weak leadership. He knows that we're not going to do anything. We see that Putin saw that Obama had a fake little red line that he drew, and he did nothing about it. And so this is kind of where we're at. You kind of went there a little bit there. All right, there we go. I'm over here. So, but this is the deal. Biden kind of allowed this. But there's two ways to end this joker. Either you're going to fight it out to the death, which a lot of people are dying in this war. They're saying 1 million Ukrainians have been killed or wounded. Ukrainian mothers are tired of seeing their children, their boys, their men killed. Around the world, we're seeing this, even in Russia. Now, again, one of the reasons why I said I'm okay with this conflict is because when you look at about 1 million Russian soldiers have been decimated, Ukraine has decimated the Russian army. They have fought valiantly. And the enemy of my enemy is also my friend. That's what I've always been told. And so when we just given a fraction of our military budget for this, I'm fine with it. But now we're at a stalemate. So there's no winning. There's no true winning. This is like the trench warfare in the World War II. It's right now. There's no winner coming out. They're just continuing to kill each other. There's no ground being won. We're providing Ukraine with enough of our Javelin missiles and Patriot missiles to where they're shooting down a lot of the air defense that Russia has. Russia they have nukes. They could easily nuke them, but then they know the whole world's going to come in on them. This is at a stalemate. So you can either end it, with fighting it out, or you have to take the diplomatic route. And that's where Trump's at. Trump's going, it's time for diplomacy. Biden never went in and tried to end this diplomatically. The Europeans never did. France, Merkel, Canada, none of them did. But now, all of a sudden, when Trump is telling him, hey, listen, it's time to end this conflict, it's time to end this war, and he's going about trying to negotiate it, they don't like the way Trump's going about doing it. So then that's where J.D. Vance is coming in and saying, look, it's time for this to happen. And then obviously Zelensky didn't like what J.D. Vance said, so then he's challenging him. And this is what the question is on this video. Can we keep this video going a little bit? Yeah, play this a little bit more, and then I'm going to tell you to pause it again here in a little bit.
This thing over with. You see the hatred he's got for Putin. It's very tough for me to make a deal with that kind of hate. He's got tremendous.
I signed with him the deal. I signed with him, Macron and Merkel. We signed ceasefire now, but you will feel it in the future. God bless.
You don't know that.
God bless.
You don't
God
know
bless.
that.
You will not have a war.
Don't tell us what we're going to feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because
I'm
you're in no
answering on
position to
this question.
dictate that.
That's
Remember
exactly what
this.
you're doing.
I'm not
You're in
dictating.
no position to dictate what we're going to feel.
You
We're
will-
going to feel very
you will
good.
feel influenced.
We're going to feel
I'm-
very
I'm
good and
telling
very
you,
strong.
You will feel influence.
You're right now not in a very good position. You've allowed
From the
yourself
very-
to be in a
from
very
the
bad
very
position,
beginning
and
of
he
the
happens
war.
to be right about
From
it.
the very beginning of the war.
You're not
Mr.
in a good
Brown,
position.
I
You don't
was
have the cards right now. With us, you start having
not playing
cards. But
cards.
right now, you
I'm
don't.
very
You're playing
serious,
cards.
Mr. President.
You're
I'm
playing
very
cards.
serious.
You're
I'm
gambling
the
with the
president
lives
in
of
war.
millions of people.
You think
You're
you-
gambling with World War III.
What do you think?
That we're going to come back up and pick back up there, but here's the deal. Trump let JD and Zelensky kind of have their stuff, and then what ends up happening is Zelensky says to us, well, he says, right now you guys are pretty safe because you got a big old ocean between, but soon, you're going to feel if Russia comes at you. And Trump's like, wait, what? You're trying to put me right over here on this camera. Trump is like, what? Wait, don't tell us what we're going to feel. You don't try to bow up on me, brother. I ain't about that life. Don't be telling me stuff and Zelensky, well, you're lucky because you got the. No, we're not lucky. We're America. We're America. We'll defend ourselves. We don't have these issues with Russia. Russia knows better than to try us. Trump, we ain't scared. Now, this goes back to this as well. See, here's the thing that people don't realize, and this is what Trump has been saying all along. These European countries, they want to say how bad Russia is. Russia's a dictator. Russia's a terrorist. Russia's an aggressor. Don't have anything to do with Russia. Oh, but can we buy oil from you, Putin? Can we make you rich so that you can continue to attack other countries, by buying your oil? Can we just buy it in bulk? Can we just create a pipeline to where we can just pipe the oil right into Germany and all the other European countries? But you're bad. We don't want to have anything to do with you. And we're against you, bad Putin. But can you just keep sending us that oil? It's stupid. And Trump's saying, European countries, you guys got to stop buying oil from Putin because then your economic sanctions will work against them. If you're making them rich by buying millions of barrels of oil from them every single day, that gives them money and the power and the resources to attack. So that's what Trump is saying. Trump is saying, let's stop that. We don't need to be offering them the money through buying their oil from them. That's where Trump's whole deal is. And that's a huge thing right there. And so we're going to keep this video going. I think we got our caller that's coming in. Don't put him on the screen just yet, but I want to keep playing that video. And then that's Pastor Dave Martin. We're going to have him on the pastor's perspective. We'll get his take on this too. But let's keep that video playing, just a little bit more of that.
This thing over with. You see the hatred in 2 weeks.
In 3 days, I heard it from Putin. In 3 days, this is something
Maybe
new.
less.
In 2 weeks, of course, yes.
It's going to be a very hard thing to do business like this. I
Again,
tell you.
just say thank you.
I said a lot of times
that
thank
there,
you
except
to
that-
American people.
Except that there are disagreements, and let's go litigate those disagreements rather than trying to fight it out in the American media when you're wrong. We know that you're wrong.
But you see, I think it's good for the American people to see what's going on.
I understand, sir.
I think it's
I
very
understand.
important. That's why I kept this going so long. You have to be thankful. You don't have the
I'm
cards.
thankful.
You're buried there. Your people are dying.
tell you
You're
again,
running
I
low
know.
on soldiers.
Don't-
Listen,
don't please,
you're running
Mr.
low
President.
on soldiers. It would be a damn good thing.
Mr.
And
President.
then you tell us, I don't want a ceasefire. I don't want a ceasefire. I want to go and I want this. Look. If you could get a ceasefire right now, I tell you, you take it so the bullets stop flying and your men stop getting killed.
Of course, we want to stop the war.
But you're
I
saying
said-
you don't want a ceasefire.
But I said to you,
I want a ceasefire.
with guarantees.
Because you'll get a ceasefire faster than an agreement.
Ask our people about ceasefire, what they think.
That wasn't
it doesn't
with
matter
me.
for you what
That
what
wasn't
this
with me.
means.
That was
wasn't
with a guy named Biden, who was not a smart person. That was with Obama.
It was your president.
Excuse me. That was with Obama, who gave you sheets, and I gave you javelins.
Yes.
I gave you the javelins to take out all those tanks. Obama gave you sheets. In fact, the statement is Obama gave sheets and Trump gave javelins. You got to be more thankful, because let me tell you, you don't have the cards.
So that's where Trump's at. Trump's philosophy is, listen, you got to be thankful, man. You know, and people are arguing, he has said thank you. Trump is lying. See, if people don't like Trump, if Trump says, yeah, I went for ice cream last Tuesday, people say, oh, well, he lied because he actually went on Monday. You know, if Trump is mistaken, obviously Trump exaggerates. Trump is exaggerating. He's a storyteller. He exaggerates a lot. He's lying. But yet they don't hold Obama, Biden, Kamala, you know, they don't hold them to the same standards of stuff. And it's because every little thing that he does. Now, Trump has to be more precise, but they did this with George Bush too. They said that he was stupid. He was ignorant because sometimes he messed up stuff or he spoke. But that's just a ploy that the liberal media does. They have the counter of how many times Trump lies, and because the narrative, they want you to believe that he's a liar. And don't listen to Fox News, because Fox News is the one that covers for him. But so now we're at the point, and we got Pastor Dave Martin. Is he on the line? Let's bring Pastor Dave in, because I want to hear what he has to say over here too. Pastor David Martin, how are you this morning, my friend? Thanks for joining me on Frontline Faith with Alex Bryant.
I'm good, Alex. How are you doing today?
Doing very well. Thanks for joining us here. So we're talking about the Trump and Zelensky phone call in the Oval Office. And, well, first of all, I'm just going to ask you point blank, when you saw it, what was your take on this?
Another eye roll with the responses afterwards. I thought, first of all, I think what he did was right. Zelensky and, when you look at this, fundamentally, Zelensky, Putin, and Biden and the far left politicians, they're basically all the same. And, they take advantage of the people. They're filled with corruption. They've got an anti-God movement, an anti-life movement. Their movement is to establish, Marxism or whatever. And so this is, they're going to work and try and get people to come alongside of them. And they fooled so many people in America. It's not even funny.
Yeah. I love to hear, and I know this too with my ministry, and you and I have talked about this stuff before. Our parishioners want to be led by our pastors. They want pastors to not have our heads in the sands, our heads in the clouds. They want us to know what's going on, and they want us to look at these things from a biblical, theological perspective and help give guidance. And you went there with the whole the Marxism thing. People say, well, that's a political thing. But no, the whole goal of Karl Marx, true Marxism, was to root out God. He was an atheist,
That's right.
And he wanted people to think that God doesn't exist, and it's all about the government. It's all about the economics. That's what economic Marxism is. But so talk on that for a second, because that's the goal. Like, hey, God doesn't exist, so don't turn to him. Don't look to him. You don't need your pastor.
Yeah, well, okay, so, I work with a group called the Family Leader out of Des Moines. I have for the last 10 years go up and pray with our politicians, and I've been involved in many meetings with both left and right. And, I make phone calls. This past year, I made 600 phone calls to pastors about just getting some material out to them to go out and vote. You would not believe all the arguments that I had from pastors of why we should stick our head in the sand and not say anything.
Yeah, I kind of would, because I talked to him. But go ahead. I mean, do you want to share something? It's sad, but yeah.
I'm just saying it's sad. It's like, well, you got to let God do it all. Well, I understand that. But David still had to show up for Goliath. The Israelites still had to show up to march around Jericho. And Jesus still had to show up to go to the cross.
Amen.
So, there's some issues there when we're afraid to talk about things. It's like there's not a whole lot of direction coming from our pulpits like they need to be. And these are important issues.
And that's the thing right there. The issues are are important. They're theological issues that society is talking about, but we've relegated them to politics. We got to take them back and look at them from a theological perspective. Let's just go over this. Life was given by God.
That's right.
That's what this whole abortion thing is all about. 70, 80, 90 million babies are being killed for convenience. And yet we are okay with saying, well, are you pro-life or pro-choice? That's a political thing. No, I'm for not killing any babies. Life is given by God. That's a theological issue. Why aren't pastors talking about it?
Yeah, I don't understand. I mean, and when we see victories, we're afraid to celebrate from the pulpit and go, this was a good thing. Now, we can't legislate morality, but you can sure legislate truth. And
Yeah.
that's very important. I mean, just for instance, Alex, I know we'll get back to Zelensky here in a second, but our state just passed a law to take the gender names out of our a law, and so now you've got. I got this article. It says Governor Kim Reynolds signed a bill Friday that strikes gender identity. And so now people are upset because it's a civil rights act and it's going against. When did gender become rights acts? Like pretend I'm a man, pretend I'm a woman. I mean, come on. What is wrong? And I know what's wrong. We have an evil agenda, and I tell people we don't hate people, but we hate the agenda that's going out there because it is
Yeah.
controlling people.
And and this is the thing too. Like we got to think about this. And we're talking with Pastor Dave Martin. He's the lead pastor of Faith Church in Marshalltown, Iowa. Very active in there and leading its culture, society. Just a small rural church. I mean,
Yeah.
average sized church, but they're making an impact in their community, in their state. And you just heard him say he's called 600 pastors, and he's talking about these theological issues. Why is it important that we make a declaration from our government that there's two genders? Because first of all, this is what the Bible says. It's the truth of the Bible. The world is trying to give us an antithetical worldview called moral relativism, which they want
That's
the young
right.
kids that say, hey, what's right for you is right for you. What's right for me is right for me. Let me speak my truth and you can speak your truth and don't judge me. And so
Yeah.
now what they're trying to do is, and that's just a ploy from the devil to try to confuse these kids to thinking that God didn't make them the right way. Oh, it's not that God made a mistake. God can't be trusted. There is no real true God. Therefore, when it comes to issues of salvation, when we try to present the gospel, we don't have a base to stand on. That's how these things play out. Am I right or wrong, Pastor Dave?
Yeah, and I think it comes back to fundamental issue number one. The Bible is the inspired word of God. It is inerrant. It is trustworthy. If you're not proclaiming the word, what else do we have? No wonder our country, our world is in chaos because they've gone away from the foundation that is Christ, his word, and his word is
Yeah.
eternal. So,
Yeah.
I mean, why do we talk about there's just man and wife, there's just boy and girl? Because that's what Jesus talked about. That's what the word of God gives us, I mean, Paul talked about that in marriages and I just it is again, God is a God of order, and you take God out of the picture, you've got disorder and chaos.
Yeah. And so the church, we are supposed to be the conscience for the world. We're supposed to know issues of right or wrong, and we're supposed to be influencers. Now, I don't think we have to weigh in on everything, but
No.
we on some of these issues that society and culture is talking about, and they're talking about it all over social media. If we don't have our voice be heard, people send me messages all the time. I don't pastor a church. I'm a U.S. missionary chaplain with the Assemblies of God. I travel. I'm on the road 40 weekends out of the year, and I'm talking to people. But there's so many people that connect with my ministry, Frontline Faith, with my podcast.
Yep.
The way we see it, they're sending me emails because they're going, "Hey, my pastor's not talking about this. What do you think, Pastor? I love to hear what you're trying to say because at least I know what would be the godly message, and I do my best to read the Bible, and I know you do too, Pastor Dave. Read the Bible and see what God has to say on these issues. And then I try to speak wisdom. I think more pastors need to do that. What do you think, Pastor Dave?
Yeah, I mean, that's our hope for people. If we want to see people redeemed, changed, come into the boundaries of what God has for us, and there's blessings in His boundaries, then we have to be, we can't be silent. We have to not ashamed of the gospel of Jesus Christ. I mean, for instance, this last Sunday I preached, I've been dealing with a series on crucial conversations, and I dealt with a two-part series out of the Song of Solomon. Now, I have people in our church that are, they're not married, they're living together, and all this kind of. There's lots of stuff going on. If I'm afraid to preach the word of God because I might offend somebody, that's not my goal. And
Yeah,
plus,
no.
when you look at this, God is that is a redeeming God that we serve. He is. And so even if people have failed in the past, we give them hope. Come back in alignment with God.
We have to be willing to speak the truth in love. Christians, we have to be willing to do that, because when we don't, then people are going to search for truth in other places, and the devil is going to be quick to give it to them. That's moral relativism. There's just so many different worldviews that the devil is trying to use and to try to throw out there to trap people. That's why we as Christians have to engage in these issues. We have to know what's going on. And so, again, theological issues, a lot of them are that society's talking about, that we have relegated to the political arena. Now, I'll say this, and I started by asking you this, and we're talking with Pastor Dave Martin. He is the lead pastor of Faith Church in Marshalltown, Iowa. He's also, he helps in the state of Iowa with Bob Vanderplaat and the Faith Leader. They're doing a lot of great stuff there to make sure that Iowa has godly values all throughout their politics, their culture, their society, and the businesses, and the pulpit, and the family. And so we love what they're doing. That's why I love talking with Pastor Dave Martin. Again, he's at Faith Church in Marshalltown, Iowa. I want to kind of go back to this and this whole Zelensky thing. Do you think, in your view, and I'm going to ask you this, I asked this question on Facebook, the whole exchange with Zelensky and Trump in the Oval Office, did you see it as an embarrassment of Trump? He embarrassed himself, he embarrassed America, or did you see it as a show of strength?
Well, I saw leadership finally in the White House. So leaders have to take a hard stand, and that's what he did. Prior to that, let's face it, when you saw Zelensky, you saw an ungrateful man. You saw somebody who felt entitled. You saw somebody that's had his way with America for a long time. I don't know how.
He's gotten a lot of money from us, hasn't he?
Oh, man.
He's gotten a lot of money.
Yeah, Elon Musk needs to look into that whole situation there, because, a lot of people got rich off of that. And so when I see that, I see a man that was standing up, and I liked what Vice President did too. A lot of people, and then the next day, right after all that happened, you see all these people saying, "I stand for Ukraine." All that means, translated, is "I hate Trump."
Yeah.
They
can't
and I don't
stand
know
it,
if
can
you were
they?
talking about that, but it's
No, go
sad
there.
to see. Yeah, I know.
I want to go there because, it is so. Trump is a polarizing figure. First of all, everybody knows where I stand with the guy. 2016. First of all, before he even ran for president, I love to watch The Apprentice. My wife and I, we've watched all the seasons of it. Trump is, people talk about how bad he is, how this and that. You can say a lot of things about him. Is he a little bit arrogant? Okay. Is he narcissistic? Okay. Maybe we all have a little bit in us. But does he love our country? Absolutely. Is this man sacrificing? Absolutely. Is he a tough New Yorker? Yeah. But you can't deny that his policies are right on, and they're more closely aligned to our biblical values than the Democrat platform. Period.
Than ever before.
And I think than ever before. And I think this whole hatred of Trump is just a ploy to get Christian people to lose sight of the issues. What do you say, Pastor Dave?
I totally agree. It is, you talk about Trump and they'll go, I've talked to several people about it, and they'll go to this issue. What about this? What about that? They get off the main track of, I'm telling you what, this is why I like Trump, because of his policies. He's a leader. And I don't agree with how he handles himself all the time, but that's not for me. He's doing what he's got to do. I could never lead a nation. Could you?
No.
Well, maybe you could. I know you ran for,
I can't lead a nation, bro.
But think about this. Think about this. Look what he's gone through to get to where he's at again. And I think he's a stronger leader now than he was before.
Yeah, I mean, we're not asking Trump to be the pastor in chief. I wouldn't go to a church that Trump's the pastor of, not at all. But but as a
No.
president, I want somebody strong. I want somebody decisive. I want somebody who's going to put America first. That's what his job is, to put America first, to make sure that our borders are secure, make sure that we're safe, make sure that we have the government out of our business and a good opportunity to achieve the American dream. Am I right or wrong?
Yeah, no, that is correct. I mean, I told people from the pulpit, we're not voting on another Jesus Christ. Jesus is already there.
He's already there.
We're voting on policy. I mean, let's face it, that if policy lines up closer to the church, to the values of the Word of God, that's where I'm going.
Yeah. We're talking with
I
Pastor Dave. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't want to cut you off.
I mean, I don't have any other option really. There's no other
Yeah.
option.
That's good. Talking with Pastor Dave Martin. He is the lead pastor of Faith Church in Marshalltown, Iowa. He's also active, very active in their state, their local, and even just to make sure that the family values are there. The church should be salt and light. He's doing a good job of doing that. Pastor Dave, I do want to, and we got him on the pastor's perspective here. I did want to touch base with you as well, because I know that you're active in your community, you're active in your state, and even this, I mean, going outside of your state, you're on the Frontline Faith with Alex Bryant. But you don't neglect your local church. I've been to your church before. I've seen you guys interacting in your community. Tell us about what you're doing there for the local community and the local church. How do you balance it all?
Yeah, we try to follow the Great Commission as best we can. We're to make disciples, and what we've been talking about is kind of part of that, because if people don't know the foundations of God's Word, which the Bible calls it the elementary teachings of Christ, if they don't know that, how can they develop this biblical worldview to where they see what is right and what is wrong? Otherwise, you're into my truth is my truth, your truth is your truth.
Yeah.
So we have seen not transfer growth. We have seen new people coming out of addiction. We've seen people that are coming out of bad relationships. It's really cool to see what God is doing, even in our small church, and to see that these people are. My wife leads a group for women. I lead a group for men on Tuesday nights, and we're seeing some great change. But we're teaching them the things of God's Word, and then we also, we do things in our community. We help out with them in outreach and try to make a connection with them, because we want to have a good rapport with them as well. And then we just try to encourage everybody that, hey, you're the church outside of these four walls. Be the church.
Yeah. And I'm going to say this. I love that. I love that. And I want to kind of maybe just talk about this a little bit. Like, I just think more churches, more pastors need to understand what our role is. It's it's spiritual growth. I mean, we're supposed to meet people and connect with people where they are, and then to help them grow to become more like Jesus. And that's in every area. Obviously, we know, spiritually, we think, oh, yeah, you want to be a good husband, you want to be a good father, and we got the rules. Don't do this, don't do that. Start doing this, start doing that. But it's also in helping people understand the way that they think, the way that they do business, the way that they parent, even the way that they vote. Those things are important. I know there's a young man that I used to coach when he was in high school, junior high, 8th grade. And I visited with him this past weekend, and I've mentored him for the last, 8, 9, 10 years. And he was mentioning how he follows me on the things I talk about politically. And he's like, man, because he and I had a conversation a couple years ago, and he's like, how do you like that racist guy, Pastor Alex? He knows I'm a pastor. He's like, man, you're a black guy too. And he's a white guy. He's like, Trump's racist. And over the course of the last couple years, because I had a conversation with him, I'm like, well, explain to me how he's racist. I don't see that. Right. And he's read my book, and so he's like, he started to break down that narrative, or he denied and rejected the narrative that Trump's a racist, that he's a bad person, and he started to listen to what he's saying. And as he grows spiritually, he's now a father. He's now got a family that he's a worker. He's got a full-time job. He drives a truck, and he's starting to look at how all these things are connected. And he's going, wait a minute, this guy's policies are actually good. This guy's defending my daughter so that she doesn't have to play with boys in sports. This guy is defending America. He's like, I'm all for immigration, but not illegal. And he's starting to look at the way that this goes. And because I helped him break this down, I delved into that with him, he's now able to see how that's all plays out. I think that's what we're supposed to do as pastors. I mean, what do you think, Pastor Dave?
I totally agree. I think we have allowed the world to hijack a false narrative for our people. When we do not preach the truth and we do not help them to grow in on the foundations of God's word and build their lives upon that, it's just like the church for so long. Taboo was healthy sexuality, politics, all kinds of stuff. And if you don't talk about that from the pulpit, if you don't talk about that in your Sunday schools, if you don't talk about that in your small groups, they're going to get it from somewhere else. And so it is up to us. And to me, we better take that seriously.
Yeah. Pastor Dave, I love that. I was talking to a pastor of a large church here in town, and I talked about how their church is so good in so many areas. In education, they're involved. They, with schools, they do great things for the community to serve and help lead. Yep. In business and economics, they got a lot of Christian businessmen and people that are part of their church. Obviously, spiritually, socially, they're making a difference here. And I was challenging the pastor. I said, but I noticed that you kind of avoid politics. Why? Why do we, have that taboo area? And I was talking to another pastor, and he's like, man, I tried that, but I got burned with the Black Lives Matter thing. And, because that was almost political and cultural. So now the church is giving up our voice. We're abdicating our voice on these critical and key issues that society's talking about. And you said it before, if we are not the ones who are leading and talking about it, who do you think is going to? They're going to get it from somewhere.
Alex, you have kids. I have kids. If they're not hearing the truth from us at home, they're going to hear it somewhere else. And, that's a major, major problem. That's our responsibility to train up the children in the ways of God. It's the church's responsibility to back up what the parents are saying, and the parents to back up what the church is saying.
And I just want to clarify what you said. If they're not hearing the truth from us, they're going to hear it from somewhere else. But they're not going to get the truth. They're going to get the false truth, right?
They're going to get a false narrative. Yeah.
They're going to get kids are going to hear, oh yeah, if you're struggling with your sexuality, if you feel like if you're a young boy and you just feel like you're not as masculine as the other boys, that's because you're born gay. If you're a young girl who feels like you're a tomboy and that you don't want to wear dresses, oh, that's because you're transgender. That's what they're going to get from the world. That's why we have to be in speaking strongly and loudly, making sure our voice is heard. And so, Pastor Dave, thank you for joining me on the Pastor Perspective. You've been on it before when I did this on the radio. I like to end with the word of hope. And so, Pastor Dave Martin from Faith Church in Marshalltown, Iowa, I'm going to ask you to leave us with the word of hope for all those. Look right in that camera and give them a good word of hope, Pastor Dave.
Our hope is in Jesus Christ, and his word is the direction for our life. And I want you to know that he will not lead you astray. Our hope is still, no matter what's going on in this world, is that Jesus is still the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. Our God is sitting on the throne, and one day this world is going to fall apart, but those that belong to him are going to live forever. I want to make the right decisions today so that my eternity is set with him.
That's a word right there. That's the word of hope. Our ultimate hope is in Jesus Christ. Everyone's going to live for eternity. You're either going to live with Jesus, your maker in heaven, or away from him, banished from him in hell. And so our hope can be found in Jesus Christ. That's what's up. Thanks for joining me today on the Pastor's Perspective. Dave Martin, lead pastor. Yeah, Faith Church in Marshalltown, Iowa. Thanks for all you're doing, my friend. God bless you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, man. Good stuff right there. So we got Frontline Faith with Alex Bryant. We got a new producer, Micah. He's over there. He's handling it. Micah, we're almost, we're pillaging through this. How you coming along, my friend? Give me the thumbs up, thumbs down. Yeah, you doing it? You making it happen? Yeah.
No more clips.
No, so we have some I want to play, but we just don't know how to do them just yet. Maybe we'll get some of them Thursday. I want to ask you this. Do you know how to do the word from our sponsor? Do you know how to do that? We got our sponsor, Will Worsham Law Firm. Do you know how to do that on the hotkey over there? Did they show you that, Micah? Okay, nope, they haven't showed you that. All right, so play our opener again. We usually do a second half opener on that, but if you don't know how to do that one, play our opener. That's going to give me a chance to get ready for the top 3 stories of the hour. Can you play that opener again? Yeah, no, I meant to play it through. I'm sorry, we got confused on there. Yeah, so, hey, let's keep it moving. Top 3 stories of the day. Let's dive into this. There's a guy named Ben Domenech. He's a reporter. He did an interview with President Trump, and I'm telling you what, you got to see it. You need to go to X and check it out. He asks, Trump answers the question point blank, who do you blame for being forced out? And man, Biden just says directly, I blame Obama and Nancy Pelosi. And he said, I blame Barack. Absolutely. And Trump's like, wow. I was shocked that he said Barack because everybody calls him Obama. Man, there's no love lost there. Man, Biden feels like Barack Hussein Obama forced him out. And Nancy Pelosi was right behind him. When I was on the radio, when this was all going down, I was saying, this is what it reminded me of. Everybody saw that Joe Biden's cognitive decline was just going down like fast. And then we had that debate, I think it was June 26th, they couldn't hide it anymore. And so I said, what's happening here is, and this is the analogy, the kids are going to have to get together and take the keys away from grandpa because he can't drive anymore. And that's a bad deal because nobody wants to be the one. And again, I don't want to diminish this because some of you have had to do that. You have an aging parent, an aging grandparent, and you have to take the keys away from them. And to them, that's like their independence. Now, when you have to do something like that, that's not easy. I remember seeing one of my coworkers one time when I pastored in Florida. His dad got to that point to where he was, going down the wrong way and one ways, and he was hurting, threatened to himself and to others, and they had to take the keys away. No one wants to do that. And so in this case, when you had President Biden, who showed us that he was cognitively declining, and Jill Biden was trying to hide it, Jill Biden she's complicit in that. So is Kamala. All those people, and so is the media, all of them that tried to lie to us and tell us Joe Biden's the strongest he's ever been. He can run circles around us. This man outworks us. That's what KJP said to us. Karine Jean-Pierre, she came to the microphone as the press secretary and lied to us every day. These people tried to pitch us lies. Hey, the emperor is wearing clothes. He's not really naked. So then when it got to the point to where we saw with our own eyes on that debate, and no one wanted to see grandpa be beat up by President Trump. I thought Trump was gracious. He's like, man, I just look at him. I don't want to do this to him. No one wants to see Trump beat up Biden. That's kind of like when Muhammad Ali was too old and George Foreman beat him down. There's people that are still mad at George Foreman to this day. You beat up Ali. Nobody wants to see that. And we saw that before our very own eyes. And so then the kids had to get together and say, we need to take the keys away from grandpa. Who's going to do it? So you had Barry, you had Bill, you had Nancy, and you had Chuck. Those are the 4 kids. They all got together. Let me give them to you. You had Barry is obviously Barack Obama. You had Bill Clinton, because they're still leaders. Nancy Pelosi, and Chuck Schumer. They were like, hey, listen, we know what we saw. Everybody's talking about it. All the cousins, all the family members. Somebody's got to do this. Let's go talk to him. And so we don't know how it went down, but we know that it went down. And now we know that Biden is mad at Barack, not even Obama. Like everybody says Obama. I mean, he's like, I'm mad at Barack. He jacked me. He put a knife in my back. And so then President Trump asked him, well, are you mad at the vice president? Are you mad at Kamala? He's like, no, I'm not mad at her. Now, she did her best to try to remain loyal. because she did lie to us. We all know she did. She had to have known something was going on. We all saw that with our own eyes, and we saw it coming. We saw him do the old man shuffle. We saw him the way he's like, oh, where am I supposed to be? And I'm not trying to make fun of him to be rude, but we saw what we saw, and they kept telling us, these are not the droids you're looking for. They just kept trying to lie to us. And we're all going, these are the droids we're looking for. We're not stupid. And so it comes down to that interview, man. It's a good interview. You need to check it out. Ben Dominich. I had a little clip, and again, we're here. We're trying to get our systems down. We got a new producer, Micah. The guy knows what he's doing. He's got like 40 or 50 years in media, but trying to learn this system's crazy. But so yeah, you got to go there. Go to X and check out the interview. Ben Dominich, Domenech. It's about an hour interview. You can even see some of the clips if you look at who Biden blames for being forced out. So that's good there. Here's a second top story, and we're coming down, we're moving right along over here. We have a new Secretary of the Education, Linda McMahon. She is now been confirmed as Trump's Secretary of Education. She was confirmed by the Senate in a vote of 51-45. So that means some Democrats actually voted to confirm her. We need this. We got to have this. Trump has made it clear what his plans are for the Department of Education. He wants Linda McMahon to work herself out of a job. His whole goal is to return education to the leadership of the states. I like that. I like more state control, and then I'm even going even further, more local control. I've lived in St. Louis. Back in 2012, I moved my family from Fort Myers, Florida. We moved to St. Louis, Missouri. I was the pastor of a church there, inner city black church, predominantly black church, about 600 people. Worked for Joyce Meyer Ministry. I ran the St. Louis Dream Center. And there every day we saw about 1,000 people come to the Dream Center for something, for some need. So we had outreach every day of the week. We had a residential program with 40 men living there. They were in a rehab program, kind of like Teen Challenge. We had a food pantry, a soup kitchen. We fed kids after school. We did GED programs. We did college programs. We had a lot of different things going on. We did loads of laundry love. We taught people how to become parents. We did parenting classes, discipleship, you name it, we did it there. And that was the first time, though, when I went and took over there. It was the inner city. I went from Fort Myers, Florida, a very affluent area, predominantly white, to the inner city. And I had a good friend. His name is Tony. He is a superintendent there of one of the schools, or one of the school districts in the St. Louis area. And he told me, he's like, hey, the school districts in St. Louis are not accredited. So you want to either live out in West County, out in Kirkwood or somewhere like that, or you want to live out in South County, down in Melville. And he gave me a few different areas that possibly we want to live in. So we we bought a house down in South County, out in the Melville School District, and I commuted in about 35 minutes every day because the schools were not accredited, which means they were not performing up to par. The test scores were below par. They were in danger of losing funding, and even like scholarships. Your test scores didn't really count for scholarships, so kids couldn't get scholarships to colleges. It's just a bad deal when your schools are not accredited. They're failing. And so that's stuff that he would tell us, and that's where the St. Louis schools were. It was about 3 years at the time. I think it went on about 5 or 7 years. So the challenges in like the cities, like St. Louis, I also pastored in Kansas City. I saw how rough it is there. It's very different from the rural areas. I'm on the school board of Nixa, Missouri. We got a great school district, We got a couple blue ribbon schools. Performing well academically. We were top 12 in the state. Our sports, our theaters, our acting, the band programs, our fine arts and stuff. Nixa has it going on all around. We don't need a charter school. We don't need private schools in there competing because we're doing fine. But not all school districts are like that. As a conservative who saw what happened in St. Louis, where these kids would say to me, the parents would say to me, Pastor, why do your kids get to go to a good school district down there in Melville when our kids are stuck in failing school districts? It's not fair. That's what they say to me. So I'm all about open enrollment. And I think the state of Missouri, we need to make some moves on that. We need to do some shifting and so on and so forth, because right now, it's not happening. Right now, there's kids in St. Louis and Kansas City and other areas, they're stuck in failing schools. It's not right. Now, I think that our school districts around here are pretty good. Even in Springfield. Springfield is kind of dealing with some of these cultural issues, these social issues. And I want to say this too. I'm going to be talking more about this in the coming months. Our school board elections, April, was it 4th or April 8th? They're just right around the corner. We're talking like, a few weeks away. You guys need to be prepared to vote, especially in Springfield. There's conservative candidates that are on the ballot, and then there's some that are not so conservative. You need to know what's going on. They're putting a lot of money into getting some of these non-conservative candidates elected. Churches, you need to be paying attention. You need to make sure right now that your small group, your Sunday school class, your church, you guys are aware, especially if you live in Springfield, of what's happening in the school board. All the areas, because the issues are blaring and they're in our face. But so back to this. So Trump has touted Linda McMahon to lead the Department of Education. She's the new secretary. She's voted in, and she has said that she agrees with Trump in abolishing the Department of Education. That's what their goal is. They want to take it back to the states, for the states to have control. I'm all for that. The challenges are different in Missouri than they are in New York, than they are in Idaho, than they are in California, than they are in Florida. States need to have more control, because when we say control, also too, it's where the money goes. DESE, the Department of Education and Secondary Education here in the state of Missouri. You need to know what's going on with them, bro. You need to know what's up. I'm on the school board, so I kind of know a little bit. They are mandating some things, and what happens is they try to tie the tax funding, the money that you get, to if you're complying with what they want you to do. So either do what we tell you to do, or we're going to withhold your funding. So when Biden was in office, and they were trying to, the Sochi stuff, when they were trying to have the language of the pronouns and the radical gender ideology, they were tying the tax money. If you didn't comply, then they'd take away your money for free and reduced lunches and stuff like that. That's how they try to hold us hostage. That's why it's important for the federal government to get out of it, to take it down to local state control, but then also so that we know what's going on, so that we have a say in where our tax dollars are going. We have to have that. So that's one big thing there. And then here's another top story. So we got our top 3 stories of the hour, top 3 stories of the day. First of all, you got to check out the Ben Domenech interview with him and Donald Trump. And then the WWE legend Linda McMahon, the Department of Education. That was huge. But then the third one is this: the stock market's reacting to Trump's planned tariffs on Canada and Mexico. Now, I got messages from people sending to me messages like yesterday, oh, your boy Trump, he's trying to crash the stock market. It's crazy. It's crazy talk, because the reality is the stock market did finish down. The Dow was down 630 points. It still finished about 43,191. It's down about 1.48%, point and a half. But it caused many of the Trump haters to celebrate. That's always crazy to me. It's always crazy to me that people hate Trump so much that they want to see America do bad. They want to see the decline. And this is our 401ks. This is all of ours. We all have, most of us do anyway. A lot of us are investing in stocks or whatever, but 401ks, retirement, they don't like our country so much that they want to see us fail. That's ridiculous. That's absolutely ridiculous to me. And so, Trump, he's moving forward with these tariffs. Actually, he moved forward with them. He put these tariffs on the different countries, like 25% on Mexico, like 15% on Canada or something like that, an extra additional 15% on China. And why? And then he's putting reciprocal tariffs on. He's saying, whatever you charge us, Bahamas, you charge us 130%, we're going to charge you that. So they're going to be there. This is just the first round of these tariffs they're putting on. He's got the Treasury Secretary, Bessent. He's evaluating all these countries, and they're going to give us some stuff in April and go, who else do we need to tariff? See, these other countries put tariffs on our products because they don't want our products to be bought in their country. Everything that comes into the Bahamas, in addition to any and everything, an additional 32% tariff. So our products are 132% on everything that's brought into the Bahamas. That's just not fair. All these other countries charge us they charge us tariffs on our products, our goods and services, but then they want us not to charge them tariffs on their products. Make it make sense, because right now it doesn't. It's ridiculous. I mean, it's got to be fair. It's got to be equitable. That's what we're looking for. That's what Trump wants. And so he's doing this thing called reciprocal tariffs. And so what you charge us is what we'll charge you. And so, again, moving forward with the tariffs, he is moving forward. I had a clip that I wanted to play, but again, we're still kind of ironing out some things right over here. But from this clip, it was of Trump talking about these tariffs. There's a few things that I wanted to say from that. First of all is this. Trump, this clip was him taking questions from the reporters. This is out during yesterday. Now I'm going to say this. Trump, that brother, he is taking questions like on a daily basis. You can't deny that. Unlike Sleepy Joe. Excuse me. Sleepy Joe wasn't going to take no questions. He might have taken 2 or 3 canned questions. If he went in there, he's like, I'm okay. Like, let me get my list out of here. Okay. They tell me to call on the Washington Post. Where you at? What's your question? Yeah, Washington Post. What's the question? And he knows the question because he's reading in front of him. Trump is going out after all these meetings and taking questions for an hour. You got to respect that. Carolyn Levitt, she's the new press secretary. She said that the reporters will tell her off the record, hey, we love it. We love that Trump's taking our questions. Biden wasn't doing it. Now, they can't say that on the record because they're from places like ABC, CNN, CBS. They're supposed to not like Trump. That's a narrative. But you got to respect that Trump's taking questions, unlike Sleepy Joe. Second thing is this whole reciprocal tariff deal. Take me to this middle right here. I want you to see this thing. The reciprocal tariffs. Yeah, Michael, put me on this middle camera. I want to talk right into this camera right here. This whole reciprocal tariff thing. That's huge. Reciprocal tariffs. Because what he's doing is he's pointing out how unfair it is for other countries to charge us and us not charge them. Guys, we need our politicians, our leaders looking at things like this. Because they don't. Our politicians are so busy on raising funds, getting reelected, and investing in the stock, that can make them rich. That's what they're doing. But Trump's a businessman. He knows about tariffs. He knows about this stuff. He produces products overseas and some in America. He knows. He was asked when he was running the first time, how come like most of your clothes are made overseas? He's like, I have to because they're cheaper over there. We don't have the same regulation. He's like, that's why I want to deregulate. He's like, we're getting killed over here. I want to bring the clothing industry production back to America, but right now it's just not cost affordable. Making his ties and all those things. He's like, if we can deregulate, these other companies will bring their products back here to the United States. That's what his goal is. But we put so much regulation, which costs so much money, on how companies make products and services. No wonder they do it overseas. But Trump's all about deregulation. And so what he's trying to do now is he's using tariffs. And his goal is, and this is the thing that people don't like. They say, well, it's a game. He's playing with a game. I'm okay with that. I trust him. He's a business guy. He's using tariffs, and his goal is for products to ultimately be made here in America. He wants products to be made here in America. You look at the different industries that we've just basically abdicated and given the production to other countries. Pharmaceuticals. 95% of all of our ibuprofen and other medicines are made in China. It's ridiculous. When my son was going through chemotherapy, you guys know that he had T-cell leukemia, was diagnosed with that, went through about 3 years of it, almost 2.5 years of chemotherapy. When he first started, they had him take this pill as one part of his treatment. It was one big pill, and he would take it. It was the dosage that he needed. Well, China cut off production, and they cut off distribution to America, so then he had to take 30 chemotherapy pills. That's absolutely ridiculous that, a child, because he was 15 at the time, these kids now, the medicine that they need, which is already hard for them. It's tough to put poison in your kid's body. You go from one pill now, okay, well, no, you got to take these 30 pills over 15, 20 minutes. See, that's one small thing. Like our pharmaceutical industry, we are producing our products in China and on overseas, and that has to stop. That has to stop. So, you look at something like these semiconductors. I want you to see this. Semiconductors. Trump just struck a deal with another company to bring production back here to the United States. The CEO of Taiwan Semiconductors, he just officially announced a $100 billion investment into the United States. What are the semiconductors? Semiconductors are the things that take your product from being just a normal, non-mechanical thing to having mechanical operations. It takes it from, it's the chip and the chips that's needed in there to make things come alive electronically. And most semiconductors, 90% of them are being produced in Taiwan. What's the danger in that? China wants to take over Taiwan. China's made it known that literally as a part of their Belt Road Initiative, they want to have a bigger influence in the world. And they plan by the year 2027 to invade Taiwan so they can have control over their semiconductors over there. It's kind of, they want to, the government, China, President Xi, he wants to, because right now Taiwan, their own independent country. Xi wants them to be a subsidiary of China. And so he's got plans. He's watching what Putin has done over here in Ukraine, and he's looking and he's seeing, he's like, hey, if they got away with it, then maybe I can too. Now that we have strong leadership like President Trump in the White House, they're going to think twice about this. But when you had a weak leader like Sleepy Joe, we'll do what we want to. What's he going to do? All that President Biden said is, hey, President Xi, if you're thinking about invading, don't. Remember that when he'd get close to the microphone and whisper, don't. Like, what's that doing for anybody? Where Trump is like, hey, listen, I dare you to try me. I'll cut you off. You know, I'll stop all weapons going over there. We might even bomb you if we have to. They don't know what Trump's going to do with these tariffs economically, militarily. It's peace through strength. That's what Ronald Reagan tried to, that was his philosophy. That's the same what Trump's trying to do. So you look at something like semiconductors, and then here's another thing about these tariffs too. Trump has a goal of America being one of the leaders in AI technology. I've said it before, I'm scared of AI. I've seen too many movies about taking over the world and the machines killing all of us. Yeah, I'm not down with it. But the world is going that area. It's going that direction. And if we're going to move that direction, I'd rather America be in charge versus China, Saudi Arabia, North Korea, Russia. We need to be leaders in AI technology, especially since one of the founders of that, Elon Musk, was one of the founders of technology. He's an American citizen. We got to be able to use our own people and use them effectively. So that's the deal. Now, and here's the thing. And again, this is where I go to with this whole the market and you know the tariffs and stuff. You got to trust the process. Trust the process. That's hard for a lot of you guys because you have TDS, Trump derangement syndrome. You don't trust anything that Trump says or does. But the guy is a businessman. The guy knows a little bit more about what he's doing versus somebody like Biden who messed up every foreign policy that he ever weighed in on. Trust the process. Be quiet and get out of the way. The guy knows what he's talking about. You look at the border. You look at his the process on that. Border crossings for this last month of February was 9,000. 9,000 border encounters at the southern border. There were days in the Biden administration where we had 12,000 encounters per day. We were averaging 5,000 for a while per day. And in the whole month, in Trump's first month in office, we're down to 9,000 for the month encounters. That's what's up. Trust the process. So, hey, we're going to land the plane here. We're going to go into what people are talking about. And I want to give a shout out and say thank you to my guy, Micah, who, man, he's Johnny on the spot. First day with us, producing over here. We're still learning the ropes, learning the ships, learning all of our systems and stuff. So we didn't get a lot of the transitions. We didn't get our promotional videos. Shout out to Will Worsham Law Firm. Sorry we weren't able to play your promotional video, but we do appreciate you sponsoring us. And we are open to sponsors. We got room for other sponsors as well. If you want to do that, hit me, send me an email. Let me know, alex@alexbryant.org. We'd love to have you sponsor Frontline Faith with Alex Bryant. But let me just give you some of the stuff that people are talking about. I already went into the semiconductors. They just announced a $100 billion investment into the United States. This is huge, people. There's a lot of companies that are now saying that they want to invest in the United States. this company, the Taiwanese company, they're going to build 3 new manufacturing plants in Arizona. What's up, Arizona? Shout out to you guys there. A lot of jobs, thousands of jobs coming to Arizona. They're going to be investing $100 billion over the next foreseeable future. This is huge. That's a win for all of us. That's a good deal for Taiwan because they know that China's trying to take over and they want to come and invade them. And so this is a good protection that helps them diversify against Chinese invasion. But it's also a big deal for us in the United States. And Trump had some stuff to say on that. Go on X, you can find it and check it out. But it's also a big deal for us. It's going to add thousands of new jobs in the United States. Now, in addition to this Taiwanese company, Honda, they just announced that the Honda Civic will be produced here in the United States instead of as in Mexico as they were planning to take it there. So all the Honda Civics, they're going to be building a factory in Indiana. Congratulations, Indiana. You guys are going to be getting a new Honda Civic plant. Going to be producing the Honda Civic over there. A foreign company that's saying, hey, we're listening to what Trump's saying. We can avoid the tariff if we build our products here in the United States instead of Mexico. So that's what they're planning to do right there. And then last week we heard how Tim Cook, the Apple CEO of Apple, he met with Trump at the White House and they announced plans to invest more than $500 billion. $500 billion. I know there's a lot of Caucasians that watch my show. That's 500 billions, just in case you didn't know. $500 billion in the United States over the next 4 years. That includes plans for a new server factory in Texas. Congratulations, Texas. You're getting some more jobs down there. This is huge, people. This is huge stuff. And then remember, at the end of January, right after Trump took over office, he was saying in one of his speeches, yeah, maybe the Saudi Arabia company wants to invest. And they said, oh, yes, Trump, we do, President. They call him up and they say, this is the end of January, the Saudi crown prince, he says that the kingdom would like to invest more than $600 billion in the United States. He said that during a call he had with Trump because he's like, come over and visit us. We'll invest $600 billion. Trump's getting stuff done. People like him. Tim Cook, the CEO of Apple, he said that he's bullish about the future of America. That's why they're willing to make this investment in AI and technology. Man, we have states that are winning. Arizona, Indiana, Texas. It's happening, people. It's happening. Companies are moving their products here, their production here, and so they can avoid the tariffs. And I like it. What Trump's doing is awesome. 2 more little things, what people are talking about. I don't know if you've driven downtown Springfield, construction to bring the Jordan Valley Creek back above ground is underway. And so you guys, if you know that area, down in the Jordan Valley, down in Midtown over there, they took it underneath the city. They built those little viaducts where the water went. And what's happening is you got a lot of homeless people that are like taking over down there. They're living under there. They got their encampments down there. So now the city has plans. It's about a $37.5 million project. It's expected to be completed by the end of 2026. It's going to have some road closures. That's going to happen right now. But basically, they're going to bring the creek back above water. And that's in downtown Springfield. The aims is help to mitigate flooding and enhance the area to make it look a little bit better. The project will feature some native plantings, pocket wetlands, and they want to improve the water quality and to reduce pollution with all the different stuff that's going on down there. A lot of the trash and so on and so forth. But additionally, they're going to have a dog park. They're going to have a pedestrian plaza, a space for outdoor learning, and more natural green space. That's all a part of this $37.5 million project. So it's going to kind of be cool. This project spans about 2 large city blocks over there in the Jordan Valley Park area. And so the area, just for you guys to know, and it's the border east by Boonville Avenue and the Water Street and the railway on the south, and the main avenue, and the west and Mill Street on the north. So it's right down in that area. I like it. I like what's happening. I like it that our city is trying to become more beautiful. Good stuff happening down there. Absolutely, absolutely. So, and then finally, and we're coming down to the end of the show. It went a little bit faster. We didn't have some of the transitions, some of the videos. We'll get that stuff ironed out, and hopefully in our next show, we'll be able to have that. My man Micah, it's his first show with me. I noticed that my voice is going. I'm not used to just talking this long without a little pause or break. Those little transitional videos, they help me out a lot. But final thing, tonight Trump is delivering. He's set to deliver the State of the Union address. That's tonight at 8 o'clock Central, 9 o'clock Eastern time. And it'll be on all the channels. And the theme is the renewal of the American dream. I'm excited. Looking forward to seeing what Trump has to say. The Democrats are already starting to melt down. They're already getting ready to trying to call it, that Trump, they're setting it up to, his pro-Putin, meeting, speech and so on and so forth. But I'm excited to hear about what our president has to say about making America great again. Hopefully we don't have any shenanigans, by the Democrats. Hakeem Jeffries, he's the minority leader. He'll be up there sitting behind Trump. So will Vice President J.D. Vance. First time that a Marine will be back there. So shout out to all of our veterans. You guys will have a Marine sitting behind Trump right there on the camera for the speech over the hour and a half. That's kind of cool stuff to think about. And then hopefully we don't have any shenanigans like when Nancy Pelosi took Trump's speech the one time and just ripped it up right when it was over. So Hakeem Jeffries, hopefully he can have a little bit more decorum and respect and so on and so forth. But that's tonight, 8 o'clock Central, 9 o'clock Eastern, State of the Union address. So, hey, man, that's all we have. Frontline Faith with Alex Bryant. We made it through our first show with my new producer, Micah, and that's all we have. Hopefully, do we have the outro that we're going to be playing over here? Hopefully we do. Give me a thumbs up if we do. Oh, no, he gave me the look. We might not. So it might just be we're done, and we might just end. But we'll get it all ironed out for the next show. Frontline Faith with Alex Bryant. We out. Word.